The amount of people that like I even get on calls with will be like, oh my God, it's like I'm talking to like this like really super famous person. And I'm like, bro, I'm just some dude who lives in Spokane that has a beard. Like the fanboying that I get makes me feel so uncomfortable because I'm like, I'm not on that level. Like, at least you don't think so.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Fail with Fire. I am your podcast host, Phoenix Hawk, also the CEO of my favorite first-party data and optimization platform, AdBeacon. Today, our guest on Fail with Fire is one person I see actually every single week. This is a normal occurrence, but also one of the most beautiful relationships that's just blossomed in 2024. I'm going to do the official intro like I always do, and then we'll do our fun intro. But before we get started, it's Mitch Barham. Mitch, go ahead and say hi to the crowd.
Hello, everyone.
And that's all you get. That's all you get to say.
Well,
Mitch Barham is the CEO and founder of Barham Marketing, a results-driven marketing agency focused on creating tangible outcomes for businesses. He has a background as a serial entrepreneur. Mitch has successfully built and sold multiple businesses, bringing deep industry knowledge and a hands-on approach to marketing. His agency emphasizes the importance of delivering real results for clients using a unique 4A strategy. Audit, analyze, assess, and adjust. We love a 4A strategy, ensuring that every marketing initiative is customized for maximum impact. Long story short, he focuses on giving practical, real-world advice, helping startups and established companies optimize their operations, scale effectively, and achieve sustained success. But what I will say about Mitch as well is he is an unfiltered, crotchety ass who is also one of my favorite agency partners at AdBeacon. And I am so honored to have this man here. Welcome to the podcast.
I like your intro better than what my assistant wrote.
You know what's funny is I'm noticing a lot of assistants are writing these and writing how bad they are in terms of like, if it's more of like, yeah, he did a lot, you can tell the assistant doesn't like you. And then how amazing they are, they can tell you how much they like you. It seems like he or she likes you. So you're chilling.
Right on. Winning for me.
Yeah. Or just doing their job. One or the other.
One of the two. Either way, I'm happy with it. But yours is far more realistic.
Yeah, we're going to be real on this podcast. It's called Fail with Fire for a reason. And I don't think we can talk about failures by being fake. At least I can't imagine that. But for those of you who don't know Mitch, what a freaking loss. We have a TikTok live that goes live every single week. And on Thursdays at 10 a.m. PST, which I always think is Wednesday for some reason, is my favorite time because Mitch and I just bullshit and we talk about paid media. I don't think the internet realizes how much of a resource that is. Like normally you would get a course or whatever. They're even directly, but what I love about Mitch is that he is so direct and so honest. And I think that really appeals to his 50-something thousand followers on TikTok. And also your very successful business. Mitch gets a crazy amount of lead flow on TikTok and people don't even realize it, where he's saying no. And what I will say about Mitch as well is he looks like a Viking. So a lot of you don't see him right now. You will if you're watching this on like Spotify podcasts, but Mitch has this beard and every single time we're on live, some man is hitting on you, not women.
Yeah, it is always men.
So good. But I'm sorry I'm talking so much. I'll shut up, guys. Don't worry. But I met Mitch actually. I've never met Mitch in person. I quote unquote met Mitch because I was at an event with Ezra Firestone, his Blue Ribbon Conference. Mitch was previously one of those members, reached out to us for AdBeacon services. We just clicked in like our hard stances on things and how we looked at the space. And then, long story short, here we are. So I will shut up, but Mitch, welcome.
Well, hello. Yes, that is literally how we met. It was so funny because the day that we did the demo, you were, I think, jetting off to go to the Blue Ribbon Mastermind. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like, tell Ezra, Molly, all these people, like, what's up? Then you were like sending me photos. I'm like, oh, I'm so jealous. I would still be in it if I hadn't sold my last ecom business, but there's just kind of one of those things. I don't really have an ecom business right now, but man, I miss those guys. It was a lot of fun.
Good people. You can still stay in contact with people even if you don't do business with them, I heard.
Oh
So
yeah.
something of interest to you, maybe shoot them a text, Mitch.
No, no. Then you got to talk to people and it's overrated.
Actually,
Totally kidding. Yeah. Relationships. Uh,
yeah, well, no, it's a full-time job maintaining relationships, but they're good people. And I'm
yeah.
actually going to see them later this month. So I'm
Nice.
excited to send you more pictures and give you that missing
Some,
feel.
some more FOMO. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's what I'm here for. That's all I'm
I
here for.
love
It's
it.
just the mascot. But meanwhile, I have a Clavio or Clavio, however you say it, sweatshirt on and a Vermont water bottle.
Love
Um,
it.
but anyway, so how we like to kick off these episodes is I like to ask this question of we were at a barbecue and your wife
Hmm.
grabs me and I'm friends. Your wife's like, hey, I want to introduce you to my husband, Mitch. And she wants to tell me what you do for work. What would she say? How would she introduce you?
Oh, she would probably make me extremely uncomfortable because I'm self-deprecating and don't like to brag about myself or say anything nice. She would say I do digital marketing. You know, I'm really good at what I mean, I don't know. But it's like, here's my husband. He does digital ads for all these different companies. He's really good at what he does. He's grown this, this multi-7-figure agency and it's been in e-commerce for 20 years and blah, blah, blah. Like it would embarrass the crap out of me because I just don't like to do that.
Oh my God, could you imagine having a wife that loves you and like wants to gas you up? How gross. How
It is
gross.
horrible. I'm like, please, could you just talk crap about me? That would be great.
You say that now until you get a woman that does that. Until you get a
Yeah.
Chinese in your life like me that goes, you ain't shit, Mitch. And then you're
Well,
like, I feel comfortable here.
yeah, honestly, though, sometimes I feel like I need to hear that because that's kind of motivating. Like sometimes I want somebody to tell me, no, you can't do that. And I'm like, bet, watch.
That's the best mentality. Also, for those who are watching or who are not watching, he has like this poster behind him that says, nobody cares, comma, work harder, period. Punctuation matters here. But yeah, no, 100%. I get that. I don't like compliments either. And maybe it's like a personal problem, but it comes down to maybe it's just because I like to always feel like I can reach more. I think when
Yeah.
there's this concept, by the way, before we get into your failures,
You think that is
about this. I was talking about this with someone. Every time I go to a conference or I talk to someone, you can kind of know who they are because there's this cadence in which they give you information. And it's always going to start with, this is where I was, this is where I'm at, and this is where I'm going. So my mom's boyfriend, who's very successful, um, he would always go up to somebody. I watched this as a kid. And he'd be like, I just got back from China. I'm here for 2 weeks. And the next week I'm leaving to Australia. No one fucking cares. But that's the way people talk, right? And I don't know. I think a sense of humility is it's a good thing to anchor yourself with.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think there's a level of imposter syndrome that comes into play. Like, I mean, you probably had way more than I. The amount of people that like I even get on calls with and be like, oh my God, it's like I'm talking to like this like really super famous person. And I'm like, bro, I'm just some dude who lives in Spokane that has a beard. I'm not that fucking awesome. Like, I'm good at what I do, but like the fanboying that I get makes me feel so uncomfortable because I'm like, I'm not on that level. Like, at least, but it may, for me, I have room to go.
Well,
I
you have
guess,
to
yeah.
leave your house to know your impact, first of all. And
Oh,
I'm just kidding. No, we're so popular and like for good reason. I think you cut through the bullshit and for you to say that I get it more than you is a joke. But like I think my favorite I will let's make it funny, right? Because this is how we default to awkward from awkward.
hmm
Twitter. It's so funny. I go to these events and I meet these people and they're like, Phoenix, how are you? It's so good to see you. Cause like you get these followers and these people who know about you. And they're like, yeah, you remembered me, right? You remember me. And I'm like, what? And you feel terrible. You want to know who they are. And then you go into their profile picture and you're like, oh, I thought you were a dude. But is that email? And the profile picture's so small on Twitter. And then
yep.
you look like terrible. But I digress. That is my failure today. What is your failure? And I think it's also good to reel it back. We can make it somewhat serious, but You have a lot of success in your life. And I think that the only way you can achieve success is if you had failures along the way that became the catalysts that are the fires that brought you back. And often the most interesting people that I speak to are the ones that go, yep, I remember this exact failure and it just drove this fire in me, whether it be personal, financial, in the industry, whatever it may be. Walk us through this time because I'm very curious.
Oh, which ones do you want to hear about? I mean, I can give you plenty. Like, there's so one on the. I'll give you the one on the business side that cost me a couple $1,000,000 before I finally learned my lesson. Early on in Facebook, like early on in Facebook, I thought this thing is going to be an absolute fad, right? Like, there's no way people are posting pictures of their food. They're checking in Red Robin and like, cause it's like, I'm like, this is dumb. And so, cause to me, I'm like, I'm a private person. Like, this is dumb. Like, yeah, no, this will like go away. Cause at that point it was like up until Facebook, you literally had Google and then forums, which was like your display banners and being able to like, not realizing you were actually content marketing at the time, but like communicating and building a community and rating fans. Yeah, this thing called Facebook fucking took off, and I refused. As Gary Vee says, I was very romantic about the way things were. I had to go backwards almost $2 million in top line sales for me to finally go, shit, I got to figure out this Facebook thing. So then there were no courses, there were no anything back in the day. I mean, we're talking like business pages still had legit organic reach. That's how old I am. I mean, how long I've been doing this, like 20 years of business entrepreneurship and multiple businesses. But yeah, I lost multi 7 figures, like basically backwards, and then had to rebuild. Luckily, I was able to do that. But I learned very quickly from that you evolve or die and you go where the attention goes. I mean, it's any platform. Like, I have so many, I'm sure you do too. We have so many social media apps on our phones, and we're always paying attention to, because you never know where the attention is going to go. I was a little late to the TikTok train, but I was also in the middle of a very volatile buyout of my last e-com business partners passing. So like, I was late to that, but I got into it because it was like, finally I was like, I just have to do this. But that was the biggest one in business. I mean, you want to talk about going multi 7 figures to like baby 7 figures. That sucked.
You were not late to the TikTok game. Can we just like clarify this really quick?
Well, yeah.
This is like Mitch's personality personified. We're going to go a little bit deeper into your failures. Don't you worry. But I think it's really funny that you say that you're late to the TikTok game. There are so many. So in the D2C world, there are specific figureheads, I've realized, who know who they are. And it's cool. It's really cool. Like, you've got this like pseudo celebrities, right? But none of them that I'm aware of are really diving into the TikTok space. So when I saw you in the 50,000 range, I think you might be more than that now.
Almost 58.
Almost 58. So I'm at 58. Come get your boy.
Bet.
But here's the difference, guys. Like, mine was based off on dumb shit and his was actually based off of the niche, which was marketing. But my point is that there haven't been many people in this space that I've seen crack the code of understanding that they can dominate this market. You're saying that you're late, or you were late to TikTok, and you're saying that you were late to Meta. I was actually going to say that you being on TikTok was the fire that brought you into it, because you knew how much you missed out on Meta.
Okay. No, I would totally agree. I mean, like, I wasn't, it was funny because like I wasn't late to the Meta party, if you really think about being late, but I was late in even starting anything on Meta. But because of that my last brand, that hurt one of my like OG brands, right? And so then I had to rebuild it, ended up selling it off, and had the other brand. But because of everything I had learned from that in what I consider being late, like I knew immediately what to do with our new brand. Like, we needed to post, we needed to do this, we needed to do that. Everybody was anti-video. And I was like, hell no, I'm making videos. And I had my business partner at the time making 7-minute long videos shot on his iPhone 7 in his backyard with dogs barking and people walking on a path behind him talking about our product, and running those as top of funnel ads, because it was like, and nobody else is doing this. I'm hearing other figureheads say to do this. This is what I'm going to do. I mean, we were getting like a 5X. This was when Meta was cheap as shit too, by the way. So, 5X on a 7-minute video was great. A 21 times on a DPA was amazing. You can't get that anymore, really. But,
You can. The platform will tell you that you got that.
right. Yeah. And then even then, the platform was not accurate. Like, let's be honest, it's always lied to us. But that error or failure, which is kind of funny because, like, failure to me isn't a bad word. Like it is to my wife or other people who, when I say failure, they're like, no, you didn't fail. I'm like, no. I'm not looking at it like I failed horribly. This was a lesson I had to learn to do better. I mean, everything. I'm not like, unless lessons, like what's the movie, lessons not learned in blood are soon forgotten. Law-abiding citizen. Like, I love that line because it's the same thing with business. Lessons not learned in losing cash are soon forgotten. So I had to lose cash to learn these lessons for all my future businesses.
Yeah, but it's funny. You mentioned your wife, and you mentioned, and also love that quote too. I'll talk about some themes that I'm seeing in entrepreneurs, and I think this has been the theme of season 3 for us. Is like I'm asking these questions, like, what do you think these characteristics are? And I've nailed them for you, and you might say that's not right, but whatever. When we go back to your wife, right? So you have a family, you have children, and you have a wife, and you have businesses, you have mouths to feed other than your own. You have mouths to feed the business. You're losing millions of dollars, and and then you've gained it back. Walk me through a time, if you're comfortable, of the time where you knew you weren't potentially able to feed those mouths. And
Oh, yeah. I've gone years without taking a paycheck in the past. Like when I lost those millions of dollars, everybody else got paid before me. That's just what I believe is the right thing to do as a business owner. It was like, we're all hands on deck. We're all right the ship. I didn't take a paycheck. That's happened a few times with my entrepreneurial journey where we didn't have money coming in. I had to be on state health insurance. I mean, nothing wrong with that, but it was like the first time that I ever had to go and get state health insurance because I couldn't afford shit. Everybody else was getting paid, and that's humbling, but thank God it was there for me.
how was your wife through that, if you don't mind me asking? We're friends, so let's just like
Yeah.
have to ask. I'm a wife now, so.
I mean, she was stressed, but she also knows and knew back then that, like, when my mind is set to do something, like, I will do it. It will get done come hell or high water. Like, I will sacrifice my health, my mental health, everything I have to get it back to where it needs to go, then write my own personal ship. I'm not sure, she was probably more scared than she ever let on, like a little more worried, but at the same time, it's like, no, I'll make this work. Like, I got us here. I mean, honestly, my first business was like a side hustle that I was trying to get going. And the only reason, and I have thanked my old boss many times. Every time I see her, it's really funny because she fired me. And I was like, that's the one time in my life I'd ever been fired, ever. And it was like, thank you. Like, I thank you for doing that because I felt sorry for myself for 3 hours. And then it was like, nope, we're making this work. Again, no money coming in. Had a business that was just at the precipice of being able to pay us. It then made it work. You know what I mean? So then that was scary too. That was apartment living way back when I was like 20 years old. Nothing wrong with apartments, but no, she's pretty amazing with like standing behind all the crazy ideas and ups and downs and ebbs and flows of this entrepreneurial journey.
I don't think that's talked about enough. Like I love that. It's like, it goes without saying you have grit and that you're going to push, and you could have done a lot of, you know what? I take that back. I don't know if you could have done a lot of those things without her, because I think she was that anchor, that backbone. And I've never met her. I want to meet her one day. I hope she hears this podcast, but like, my husband is my anchor. He is the reason why I believe I was able to do a lot of things in a very short, condensed amount of time. But I feel like the best partners push you and support you just the right way that you need, that you don't even realize. And for her to like just have faith in you that you're gonna make it work, and you're gonna make these risks and changes, lose money and gain money. There's a testament to that. And I just thank you to
Oh, it's huge.
what's her
Yeah, Stephanie.
Stephanie. You like to keep things private, so naturally I make
No, it's fine.
Okay. But Stephanie, that's awesome. Anyway, like that's really, really cool. And you know, for your children, you have 2, correct?
No, just the one. I have a 1 6-year-old
One
son.
6-year-old son. As he grows older and watches dad, I actually just recently did an episode where we were talking about how children look up to their parents, especially like grinders, like entrepreneurs. What do you want your son to take note of how you are in business? Like, what is the one thing, if he could just retain one thing, what would it be?
I think I mean, the first thing that pops to mind is, honestly, I would say is just how hard I work. But at the same time, make time for him. So like we came up in a different generation, and my parents are boomers, which shout out to the boomers. But like I mean, my dad's grinds, and that's where I think I model my work ethic after is, I mean, he was building a construction company. He was working a lot of long hours, but he was never there. And so I'm trying to do the opposite where like, I'm there for you, but you puppy, but I'm also going to grind. Like, I mean, he comes in, he wants to be a boss. He calls my shoes that I wear boss shoes. He wants to be like me. He made his own little, the art project he made at school was a laptop. Like, what? And he knows that I run ads for people, help other businesses make money, and just and he has said that he does, which is weird at 6 for him to recognize like how hard I work. And it's just like, Daddy, you work hard. I'm like, yeah, but it's so we can have all this stuff. And not only that, like I'm not really a materialistic guy. I want an empire. Like, money aside, I've always wanted to build that 8-figure, 9-figure empire. One day we'll get there.
He'll get there. I think that feels really good. Like, I can kind of feel it. Just if I were as blessed as you are to have a child that looks up to me like that, and he's going to see you really succeed and he's going to see you fail. And like the way
Mhm.
is 10 times more important than the way you succeed. I shared this, I think, on another episode, but I had a father. This is a very complex topic, which I'll go over another year. But I was not doing well in college. I was failing. I really thought I was dumb. I really was never a good student for the most part, but I always got opportunities in the sense of like the teachers would see potential, but I would never reach that potential. And I remember I was failing all my classes. I was supposed to be pre-med. I was supposed to be the next doctor in the family. I'm not going to classes. I'm doing dance because I was a dancer my whole life. And I called my then dad and I was like, Dad, I'm not doing well. And he's a doctor. I was like, I'm just not doing well. And mom's going to kill me. I love my mom, but she's Asian. And he's like, honestly, I don't care about any of this. I just care that you're a good person. If you're not a good person, I don't want to talk to you.
Hmm.
And that rocked my world, right? Because like in that moment of what I felt was failure, because I just felt like I wasn't living up to my potential, my then father was like, I don't really give a shit about that. So it's cute to watch your son dress up as you, see you as this
Mhm.
whole person, but I know when shit hits the fan, you'll kind of rock him back to earth and be like, yeah, that's part of it. And good for you, man. Good for you. That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Well, back to just, kind of going through failures and fires. Um, you know, recently we had some like failures. Um, I would say like in media buying, right? There's like some months that are really, really shitty. And this is probably going to be realistic for all agency owners as well. It wasn't picking up, I think, until August. We talked about this on
Yeah.
our lives. How are you manning the storms when it's a really low tide season? Because agency work, it's crazy. And then low tide,
Mhm.
and August happens. You're like, thank God, I was fucking dying. I can't
Yeah.
even. Yeah, how are you doing it?
It's a lot of hand holding and what I call head petting. I mean, I try to, especially because I've been doing this so long, I can pretty well time out the ebbs and flows of the market. We know June's going to be shit. We know July is going to be shit. Half of August is going to be shit. And then it's kind of like, all right, last half of August picks up, September starts to pick up. So I try to be preemptive and we'll send out like looms videos to all the clients. I don't, I mean, I make the video. And I let them know, like, this is historically what happens. Like, this is just how it works. Like, even within my business, we would do $400,000 D2C in May, and then June it'd be 250. Like, it's just the nature of the beast. People go on vacations. So I try to be a little preemptive that way. I do end up having to take a lot of calls, and there's a lot of emails that go back and forth of like, it's okay. Like, we just need to make it a few more weeks. It'll be okay. We adjust budgets, planning. I mean, it's just, this world is an interesting world. And I've had, I mean, even in the agency side, what I would consider failures that, have probably walked us backwards $500,000 numerous times, but that's due to me being stubborn. And like, I didn't even realize it. I was still managing 23 accounts myself. I didn't realize it until last week, until I went through and listed every single client we'd lost like the last 40 and was like, oh my God, I'm the common denominator. Not that I'm bad. My communication isn't as good as it could be because I'm running a company. I have an in-office staff. Then I'm trying to also manage my assistants and EAs. Then I'm trying to do ads, sales calls, client calls. I'm like, no wonder they leave. It's not because our results are bad. It's because there was no relationship building. So back to the shitty months, it's all about relationships. Like, it's literally all about relationships. Somebody will stick around and pay us, even if we're doing shitty, as long as I sit there for an hour and listen to them tell me about their life.
You are their therapist. Same with networking. Let's just break it down to simple bar style, right? In networking, I actually just got back from an event and this guy was like, okay, Phoenix, how many people are you going to speak to? Did you look at the list of people coming? Like, what is your mark of success versus not? And I understand, right? Same with the freaking agency business. You need to hit specific numbers. I totally, and retention. But I told this guy, I said, honestly, I don't have a plan. I come in and I'm not too desperate. I don't come up to anybody that, just cause. I mean, I do. I just talk to them. And if they like me as a person, they're more likely to do business with me and stay with me than they are if they like my product, which is such a back-ass way of doing things, but it's so true. I actually talked to my co-founder about this, and he said, whoa, that's like a very soft sell. I'm like, because my goal is not to sell. So the idea is, right, I've said this before, it's like, I will follow Mitch Barham to the ends of the earth because I know whatever you create, I know the type of person you are. So I'm like, it's going to be great. I will support him. So if it's not your agency and it's a different product fault, but if it's just your agency, then you've lost. And that is your relationships because you're able to talk them through, to talk them off a cliff, talk to them about, a divorce that they're going through or a loss that they're going through, and they'll stay with you. And what's so funny is that one of my clients that was at an agency years ago with me is now an AdBeacon client with me. And mind you, we have a great platform. Don't get me wrong, but and because she had that relationship. So I can't beat that down more. And I'm grateful you just highlighted it. So
yeah, I mean, I think in any business, as long as you can love on your clients, love on your customers, like, they'll come back. That's relationships trump everything. And that is a struggle for me to a degree because I'm more ambivert than I am extrovert or introvert. Like, I can be extrovert when I need to be, but God damn, does it suck the life out of me. So when I have 8 hours straight of calls, by the end of the day, I'm brain dead and God knows what my mouth is going to say because my brain doesn't stop it. It just comes right out. And
it up one on my TikTok lives. I mean,
it does.
I'm not mad at it because I'm just as crotchety as you are. I just have to have different packaging, because then I become the B word, which
yeah. The funny thing about the crotchety thing is I do come across crotchety, but it's actually passion. And the only way that I know how to show my passion or the way it comes out is it sounds angry. Like, I have to really, like, when I'm in the middle of like really getting into something, I have to be like, I'm not angry. I'm just really passionate about this. Like just, you guys don't, like, I've been here for 20 years. I'm not saying I know everything, but like, I know a lot. And like, this is the way that it should work. And this is how the best route to start. But then I sound like an asshole. And so it's like, okay, well, this is fun. But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? I have people comment on my threads, comment everywhere that are like, you helped us bring our CAC down 50%. I'm like, are you 50%? Like, you managed, just based off of my free TikTok content, you reduced your cost per acquisition 50%. And I'm like, fuck yeah, hell yeah, good for you, dude. Like you actually implemented. That's one thing I think is missing. And I'm going to get on a little like crotchety box first. Hustle culture is dead. Nobody wants to work as hard as it's going to take to build the businesses that they really want. They think they can go sign up for redirected MRR and be multimillionaires. And it's like, it's not how it works. Like you're going to have to literally blood, sweat, and tears to get there. Like nobody wants to do that anymore. It's so much harder than what it really is than people think it is to build a business. They just look at like, you know, me and you and they're like, oh, they just made it. It was so easy. Like, nah, dude, I've been doing this stuff for 20 years. Phoenix been around for a long time. That's probably my biggest thing is like literally like nobody cares, work harder. Like I literally live by this. I mean, it's like nobody cares. And like I have another shirt that says everything is earned. It's all earned. Nothing's given. The world owes us nothing. It has shit on me so many times, business wise, personal. You just get up and do it. Like stop feeling bad for yourself. Just do the work. Fuck.
So good, right? You owe nothing to the world other than to be a good person, in my opinion.
No, 100%. Be nice. Don't be a dick, but like you owe nothing and nobody owes you anything. You just have to put in the work.
I'm going to send you a hat. So there's this coffee shop called La La Land in our area, which actually they really strive to employ foster youth, which is really cool. But their hats say, don't be a dick. So.
Love it.
Send that over to you. But yeah,
yes.
like, okay, it's the same thing. I believe you only have a certain amount of energy a day. Like, I take it back to networking. I cannot stand when someone is talking to me and it's the most pointless conversation. I'd understand if you're talking about something, maybe I don't personally have interest. That's a me problem. That's not a you problem, right?
Right.
But if you were talking to me about the most dumb shit, I have no problem with walking away from a conversation that does not serve either of us. This thing though, when you say it's passion, I have it with my friends where I go, trust me, if I didn't care, I wouldn't say a fucking word.
100%.
Right? And I say it to my clients sometimes. I go, and they're like, why do you think this is? And I said, honestly, I really respect you, which is why I think I need to leave this conversation. You came to me for advice. I'm giving you my advice. You have every right to take it or not take it. However, my question to you is, do you like losing money? Do you like making money? You and I are very similar in that. I was like, do you like, if that's what you're into, by all means, go for it.
Yeah.
You know, but you want to potentially save some money. These are some things that I've done in the past that have helped my clients. And, you know, we could just go for hours on this topic, but I will bring us back. I personally believe I've kind of deduced it down to one word, and it's synonymous with another word, that all successful entrepreneurs, CEOs, and founders have this one character trait that goes a through line. It's perseverance, AKA your survival technique. Perseverance. What do you think is your word, if it's not that?
That makes the most successful, those of us that are successful. It's going to be kind of maybe shocking. I think we're all addicts.
I agree.
Thieves. Yep. I think we're like, there's actually multiple words. To do what we do and to do like to get to the levels that most of us like to get to the levels that people want to get to, you have to be a bit of a masochist, psychopath, and addict. Like you have to have some sort of addictive personality because like you have to love this shit. And I mean, love it like you would love to drink alcohol. And I'm an alcoholic and I love to drink alcohol. So work is my addiction. But I mean, those are my three things, you know, I mean, which go along with like perseverance and everything, but like to a degree, you have to enjoy the process and know that there's ups, there's highs, there's downs, there's sideways. I have to walk clients through those all the time where I'm like, it's okay. It's Monday. Like it'll pick up later tonight. Sunday, football's on. It's okay. Like don't freak out.
You signaled a pretty calm leader. Like it's funny. I was talking to Sean Frank and he self-actualized himself as a frantic leader. But obviously the real storms he's pretty focused in on. What kind of leader do you think that you are? Honestly, not BS, because you know you're just that type. Totally.
I don't know. That's interesting. I don't know. I've never really put thought into that. I'm not frantic. Yeah, I guess more or less empathetic leader. Even with my employees, I'm very empathetic and very, I don't even know how to necessarily explain it. It's like, I listen. That's the biggest thing, is like I listen to understand versus listen to reply. And
Mhm.
then when shit hits the fan, though, like I'm not frantic. It's very strategic. This is the problem. These are the steps we need to take to get there. So instead of panicking, it's like, oh, no, it's like, okay, what is like, it's just, here's the facts. So I'm like, I think empathetic and then factual leader and that's with my
That
employees and my
yeah.
clients.
No, that's awesome. That's super awesome. And to your point of addiction, I think you're absolutely correct. Um, I have an obsessive nature, and my husband and I joke about this because, and my close circle know this about me. I short circuit. So if something doesn't make sense, I will not move on. I have
Hmm.
to done. And I'm also obsessive. So like, for example, the 6,000 piece Harry Potter castle that I got, I would just keep going, keep going, keep going until I was done. Mind you, when I was younger, I had severe ADD/ADHD, who knows what I had. And I couldn't focus on one thing. Now it's a
Hmm.
thing. And what will happen is if I know someone's lying that I really care about, I cannot move past it because I will corner you going, wait, this didn't make sense, but this didn't make sense. And this didn't. And my husband will be like, it doesn't, not about him
Hmm.
in general. It's like, it doesn't matter in this moment. And I go, no, it does matter. And I realize this translates into data analysis.
Yep.
And this translates into media buying. It translates into how much you care about your clients.
Hmm.
So spot on, man. I think 100%.
That's so funny you said that stuff, because like that's literally, you and I are very similar in that sense. I have to, like, I take a notebook home with me because if I get an idea, I have to write it down and get it out of my head. Otherwise, I'm going to obsess about it, like even over the weekend or stay up all night. A lot of things I do stay up till midnight and like dive deep into because I'm like, I have this idea, like maybe this is it, or the data analytics or whatever. And then same thing with the lying. I will, even if it smells a little bit like a lie, I will analyze everything and piece it together. And then it's like, I got you. Now you're going to tell me the truth. Like I've already figured it out and I'm obsessed about it. So your husband and my wife would probably get along very well because they're like, they would relate on those things so well because I can piece shit together. And are you the same way though, too, where you can like feel somebody's vibe and right away go like, oh no, bad person, like I'm out?
Yeah, bad you feel. I'm
Yeah.
like, and okay,
Yeah.
question, not to go like a million. What side of the bed do you sleep on? Super fucking good. I know that like there's a reason
If you're looking at the bed or if you're on the bed,
on the bed.
the right side.
Called it. But no, it's choked. They say, okay, they say TikTok says that if you sleep on the right side of the bed, and I'm sorry, Stephanie and Ryan, they say that you make more money and you're a
Mm,
lot more stressed out. Like you're a
interesting.
lot more like you're a leader and you make more money and that's your thing. The people on the left side of the bed that sleep there are more relaxed. Our health is probably stronger. It's just, and then there's no better side of the bed, right? Like they're both great and they're both terrible. But
Right.
that's why I was like, I wonder, I'm on the right side of the bed too. And what's funny is that Ryan fights me when I'm on the left side of the bed because I'm like, sometimes it sounds kind of nice. He's like, no, you cannot conquer this land. He was and I'm like, okay. But okay, last portion of this fantastic episode, which thank you again for coming on because this has been
Yeah.
great. But it's your favorite. It's hot takes. What hot take do you have right now?
Uh, hot take about what about what? I got lots of hot
It
takes and
could be
opinions.
anything. It could be honestly, literally, whatever you want. I'll do one. My hot take is that Uh, if you come to a networking or you come to a conference and you go through the list of names of whom to talk to, and you only talk to those people that you think are important, you've probably done the biggest disservice to yourself
Hmm.
you've ever done. Because I guarantee you, 10 other people have the same strategy you do. And that person is probably super over it. Actually, great case study about this. Let me just talk to you about this one little story. Okay. My friend is Jason Akatov, who is also one of our guest series. They call him like the godfather of affiliate marketing. He's very successful, yada, yada, yada. I know Jason because I was up on a plane with him for 16 hours drinking on the back of the plane, getting tossed. But we were talking about attribution, all that, right?
Mm.
Mind you, we're really good friends. And we go to an event in Nashville, and my husband's there. He never goes to events with me. He doesn't like to fly. And this girl corners Jason and asks him all these questions. And Jason goes, yeah, I just build the odds. So he's just like wasting her time. He's not trying to be a dick, but he's just kind of like wasting her time on purpose. Meanwhile, if she would have sat in my mind, I'm like, if you would have sat in the corner over there, you would have met Jack and Jill over here that is starting a small business that could be a multi-million-dollar, if not, 8-figure business in a very short amount of time. And you could have built a relationship with them instead of going to somebody else who gets pushed every day for some other SaaS platform, etc. Not to say Jason's not great. The only reason why Jason and I are friends is because he had no idea who I was, and I had no idea who he was when we met. And we
Mhm.
actually did on a human level. That's my hot take.
I like that because something that's been, I guess, stewing for me all morning long, and I don't know why. I guess it's probably been building up over time. Um, really has nothing to do with marketing, and it kind of piggybacks off you. So I don't want to sound like I'm just stealing your idea, but even this morning, there's kind of different ways to explain it. Kind of two different ways. Like there's the more eloquent way where it's just like don't. I feel like too many people just ask. There's always an ask. Relationships are very transactional anymore. I find people who I thought relationship wise that we had different relationships. Things are being brought to the light now that I'm like, fuck, these were more transactional relationships. Like you only really communicate when it suits them. Um, don't be that kind of person. Like honestly, like man, like relationships. I mean, and I'll give you a case study. Blue Ribbon Mastermind. Um, there's this. I won't name his name. I have a fucking NDA because he's a client. But he was a part of the Blue Ribbon Mastermind back in the day, and even like I was one of the baby businesses in the Blue Ribbon Mastermind. I mean, like anybody that doesn't know, like you're in the room with like 8 and 9 figure brands. Like I was one of the babies. But to your point, like I went there and I just shut up and I listened to these dudes who had built 8 and 9 figure brands and just sat at the table and just soaked it in and listened and would occasionally ask, like, not just like transactional kind of stuff. It was just to get a little more elaboration out of them or dig deeper into like them, like what made you want to do that and like kind of build that personal relationship. Because here's the thing, you never know when that kind of relationship is going to spring up out of nowhere. I have not talked to this man in 5 years. It's just been a long time. And now circle back around, he sees me on TikTok. All of a sudden he's like, I know that guy. Holy shit. Now we do marketing for his big business. And it's just kind of one of those things where I'm like, you feel like I don't know. I don't want to make it like sappy, but like, I feel like there's a lot of things that are transactional. Like your and my relationship is not transactional. We've never met in person, but it's very much like we're trying to give to the people.
Yeah.
And that's where I think the world needs to kind of flip on its head because everything is so me. What can you do for me? But it's like, what you don't realize is if you literally give and give and give and give and give and give and give, the universe, God, whatever it is you believe in, will give back tenfold. That is literally how I added $1 million top line to my agency, was through giving away free content on TikTok. Everything I do, I don't gatekeep shit. It's literally like you can do everything I do if you have the time and can figure it out. Like do it. But then we have clients that, because I never ask in any of my videos, I never like, come sign up. It's all give. Anybody I talk to, I do free audits. My time is fucking valuable. I do free audits. A year later, they become a client. And I never ask. But then even on the personal side, like let's just be more personal, like personable, instead of being so asky and even in business, stop being douchebags and let's actually have relationships. It doesn't have to be cutthroat all the time. You know what I mean?
You never be caught with your tail between your legs, guys. Like, let's just be honest. If you hear it,
Mhm.
wrong, but as a woman in this space, it's really funny because I'm often, actually, that's not very true because I'm pretty dominant. My energy is very
Yeah.
dominant or energy. Sorry. I'm a very dominant energy. So you know that I'm here for a purpose. But
Right.
if I were a little bit more timid, for example, I see a lot of girls are going to be categorized as sales because
Mm,
back in the day, you would get really beautiful women to be sales girls and then they just schmooze you and whatever. So men have adapted to this idea that you don't talk to them, but you never know who they are, which is another
right.
thing. So now you have this jaded content saying that, it's a men's world or a man's world, which to an extent is, but there's also been some like foundational issues there because you used women for a purpose back in the day. Okay. So, but then the
Right.
secondary case study to your point, and I hope this gives you a little FU spirit. You see a model, and there was a particular person that I was really good friends with. She's a very well-known influencer. She really leaned into the fact that I was a model because if she would go to events, she could be like, well, I want to bring my friend. She's a model. So then it would get me in there for free. And then she would have a friend. And then it would also like amplify her name.
Right.
And it was just kind of this piggyback. I always thought it was a genuine relationship. I didn't realize it was a very transactional relationship until she started getting her master's degree. And she kind of had this like holier than thou kind of vibe. And I lost my job. I hit rock bottom. I don't even think of my rock bottom yet. I'm 31. It's going to be probably very not right. But I lost my job. I lost everything. I was broke. I was living with my family again, which I hadn't lived since I was 17. I was just struggling mentally, financially, everything. And she dropped my ass. And she said
Mm,
that she thought that I was emotionally exhausting, which I'm not. And she was done.
mm,
And she stopped inviting me to things, whatever. It really hurt me. Really,
hmm.
really. Fast forward, we are here now. This girl did not get her master's. I got my master's. I finished it. This girl is exactly where she was. No knock to her. I get a DM going, hey, how are you? Oh my God, my husband just showed me that you've been traveling the world and talking about this. You have your own company. I never doubted you for a second. We should grab drinks soon.
Right. Yeah. It suits her now.
Right. So if you come into relationships with this idea of how much money do you make and what can you do for me, please stay away from Mitch. Please stay away from me. Like, go
Yeah.
find somebody in your own pond. But if you were a genuine person, holy crap, I want you to succeed. I want
Hmm.
you to be the most successful person ever. And even my friends, I'm like, thank you so much, like, for being cool. Like, for example, Jordan Menard just started Instant Hydration with his wife,
Mm,
Taylor, and I think they have another co-founder. And they're fucking killing it. And the first week he's texting me, he's like, dude, I don't know. Like, this is kind of rough. I'm not sure. I'm like, dude, I don't doubt you for a second. Just go. And now it's like they're on track to do a lot. I'm not going to say what, I'll let him do that, but like
yeah.
they're doing really well. You see all your friends doing well, you want them to succeed. Again, I'm going to shut up, but
No,
you're right.
yeah, you're totally right. I mean, like having those kinds of people is huge. And unfortunately, there aren't a lot of people like you that Jordan could text and would like be like, yeah, no. Especially in business. I mean, it's just one of those things where like it's cutthroat. I've had people that I thought were my friends straight up steal clients from me and I help mentor them and then just straight up yank clients off from underneath me. And I'm like, you did what? Like, wow. So there's a lot of trust that I have in people. Um, that also is probably a character flaw, but it's just very much like I have a guard up. But that's also been 20 years of being fucked over. And I say that with like a snarl because like, I mean, I've been sued. I've been subpoenaed to go to Atlanta for, fucking criminal indictments that weren't mine. But it's just like, just don't be a dick. Moral of the story. Don't be a dick.
You know what's so funny? My episode with Van Oaks, we ended it with, don't be a dick. And new one here, don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
Mitch, where can people find you? I will pump you up. So if you guys don't already follow Mitch, look up Mitch Barham. I forgot, what is it? Paid ads expert title on TikTok, correct?
Yeah, the beardpreneur or Mitch Barham. There are about 20 fake accounts, so be leery of that. The one that you want to find will have about 58,000 followers on it, but it is Mitch Paid
I'm
Ads
following
Expert.
him. That's the one. Except there was one fake one that I followed, and then he asked me for money, and then I realized it wasn't you.
Yeah. Nope. Hey, you want to buy some Bitcoin? Nope.
Definitely not. I will say if you don't follow Mitch, follow him on the socials, primarily probably TikTok. I'm
Yeah.
assuming. And then also too, like if you are looking for a course, Mitch does have a course. He will never promote it. I will.
Mm-mm.
Um, I honestly will say, as somebody who is in the space, if I were to give a client to somebody, it would be Mitch. I really trust his team, him in the hands of this. So if you're looking for that, definitely look to Mitch, ask him some questions. He's an open resource. But yeah, thank you, Mitch, for being on the podcast. It has been a complete honor. And I hope you have a great rest of your week, man.
Yeah, no, thank you. This was fun. I appreciate it.
All right, guys. Until next week. Bye.